Hello everyone, welcome to BizzTalk World Talk Show presented by ClickAway Creatives. Today we have Mr. Prasanna Miapuram with us, a gentleman with 30 plus years of global experience in building a global team at SwiftAnt with specialization in cloud computing, artificial intelligence, machine learning, blockchain, basically a techie by heart with focus on insurance and logistics industries to be specific. He also worked as advisory program manager in IBM USA prior to SwiftAnt. He's also a thought leader of return on investment in Is Dead and working with the clientele to deliver digital transformation with zero capex. We have a lot of things for to understand for Mr. Prasanna, but I've tried my level best to cover it in these small words. But without further ado, let me introduce you to the man himself, and then we'll understand his journey. So, hello, Mr. Prasanna. Thank you very much for joining us.
Hey, thank you, sir.
Thank you very much, sir. It's a pleasure, and thank you very much for getting some time for this interview. As I said, I tried my level best to incorporate some things about your journey so far in the little words that I had, but our audience wants to learn more about it. And before that, let's go ahead and your understanding. So my first question in terms of the professional way is, what is digitalization simplified? I mean, if you can understand that first.
Okay, I think you took that digitalization simplified from our byline when what we say is SwiftAnt, digitalization simplified. So everybody is talking about digital and for very long. In our world within SwiftAnt, the way we look at digital is, we look at digital as a holistic piece, right from the end consumer facing apps and from the internal optimization of the core business processes and analytics. We put everything together. That is what we call it as digital simplified or digitalization simplified.
Okay. Then in that journey, then what is digitalization not simplified? And what is the complexity in digitalization, first to mention?
I'm glad you're asking this question because when we work all over the world, what we have come across is, when you look at digital, most people misunderstand digital as just a set of consumer-facing apps. Mm-hmm. When you look at consumer-facing apps from a marketing point of view, yes, it is digital. Absolutely, it is digital. But is digital limited to that? That is the problem. That is where it becomes complex. So in our world, when we talk about digital, we look at, yes, consumer-facing apps are very much necessary. At the same time, for the business's internal operations, end-to-end integration is a must. End-to-end integration improve the operational efficiency and at least by 20% reduce the operational costs and make it a data-driven organization. That is what is digital simplified. It is not just one piece. It is end-to-end holistic approach towards digitalization is what we call it as digitalization simplified.
Is it that, how should I put, in a monetary aspect, in terms of expenditure of a venture? That's a detour question in this discussion. How cost effective or efficient is this to follow? I mean, you said 20% reduction in 20% cost cutting in the operation. Implementation, how is it?
So again, when you look at digital, right? Today's technology enables, actually you want to save money right from the beginning. In the olden days, if you look at it, people used to spend a lot of money, wait for years together for the ROI. So in today's world, many large projects can be implemented in few weeks. Trust us, few weeks. We did some national country level transformations, motor insurance industry transformation at a country level, both from the underwriting point of view and bringing every stakeholder into the picture, like police for verification of the policy, insured, insurance, broker, agent, whatnot. These kind of projects we have implemented in few months, and then they are successful implementations cited by Microsoft in their case studies. So what we are saying is a digitalization encompasses all the stakeholders, very little investment, actually no investment in many cases, it can simply go into business-based transaction, and very faster rate of, relatively much faster rate of returns. Some people, companies have started realizing the business benefits from day one with digitalization. There are several case studies around that.
Oh, we have seen a Twitter posting as well by Microsoft. We'll talk about that. We'll talk about that. But before that, I have another question. I mean, what do you mean by not benefiting the core processes of the business?
So when we look at the digital, if somebody is only focusing on the consumer-facing apps, but not focusing on internal optimization and to convert it, if I look at a company, they have many apps. Oh, the marketing team is heavily focused on making the consumer-facing apps ready to the market. They have many apps in the App Store or Play Store. That is not, that is digital, but in a very basic form. That is what we are trying to say. But is it improving the internal operations of the organization? That's the question.
So as you said, I mean, it's digitalization is all about end-to-end digitalization.
Exactly. Many people are still not focusing on this. That's the reason why digitalization is still low when you look at many companies.
I mean, I understand it's in the supply chain, but it's not in the pre-execution planning. So that's what you really mean. Now, talking about the Twitter stuff that I was talking about. I mean, we have seen it. We saw a recent Microsoft Twitter posting about SwiftAnt. ROI is dead. That was there. It's intriguing. What's it? I mean, if our viewers can understand, what's really it?
Yeah, when you talk about ROI, return on investment, ROI is dead. It's a journey within SwiftAnt to even get to that point. So it is not that we suddenly started with ROI is dead. Okay. Now we wanted to win big projects, against big companies because we believed in ourselves. So how can a company like SwiftAnt go and win projects that can transform at a country level and everybody in the country is using the platforms that SwiftAnt has created? So the way we approached such projects was, okay, we qualify for the bid from a competency point of view. When we are responding, we put our competencies. We put our implementation plan, very aggressive implementation plan. And then we said, do not pay us. Do not pay us until the client is in a position to realize the business benefit. Do not pay us. So by that, what are we doing? SwiftAnt is taking the whole implementation effort, all the costs, infrastructure, cloud infrastructure, development costs, resources, travel, lodging, whatever it is needed. And then we implement it from the successful implementation, from the date of successful implementation. For every business transaction, customers started paying us. Now we tested that in one project, worked fine. I think we started this in 2017, slowly extended it in what you call, we said, okay, this is beautiful. This is working fine. Customer is extremely happy. Then we started implementing it across multiple countries. Japan, Hong Kong, Kenya, some customers in US. And then when we started seeing the customers started loving it, that means we finally said, there is no investment into the project. So where is the return on investment? When there is no investment, there is no return on investment, right? And this now we are making a motto or the driving factor behind all our customer pitches, right? So that's what we are saying. In every customer pitch, we say ROI is dead. So we took the courage after years of experience and then said ROI is dead for IT projects.
My next question was, I mean, based on the conversation, the flow, I was supposed to ask you, or I thought to ask you that, have you done this? I mean, is it a concept or it sounds more like a concept? I mean, you're passing the bid and, making to the competitive level and then asking your clients like, do not pay us. First, get satisfied. And then you can, just go ahead with the transactions. You did this. You sort of gave us the journey of how you did it, where you did it. But if you can go some, deep into this and brief us about the journey exactly, not just about the SwiftAnt. We also want to learn about your journey so that can also be reflected to SwiftAnt.
Yeah, so I think my journey and SwiftAnt journey are the same. Like I've been the founder of SwiftAnt, the co-founder of SwiftAnt for and then been with it for last 14 years. So there are no two separate journeys, my journey and SwiftAnt journey. They are together, right? That is one part. Then the second part is this is not just a concept, as I mentioned earlier. This is a successful implementation.
Mhm.
This is a successful implementation where today in Kenya, 37 motor insurance companies, that is every company which does motor insurance, and every insured person and every vehicle that is getting insured will pass through our platform for certain validations, and then for ensuring that the vehicle can be insured. And then we do a lot of proactive fraud prevention checks.
Mhm.
All this project, which involved so many stakeholders, was implemented with ROI as dead. So customer did not pay anything, and the customer paid only post go live. And we have done for a logistics company end-to-end integration of the messages, right from the time the raw material is picked up and then manufactured at the manufacturing plant, status updates right from the manufacturing plant until delivery to the end customer. That is the end-to-end visibility in a logistics aspect, from in a logistics segment, which is very, very important component. All these messages integration is done with a SwiftAnt platform. Again, as a customer pays only for the business transactions passing through this platform per transaction. If they do one transaction, they pay a fee. If they do a million transactions, they pay million transaction into multiplied by the transaction fee. So there's no implementation cost, which is new to the industry. That's what I'm trying to say. That that's why we are saying ROI is dead.
No, makes sense. Makes sense. I mean, the concepts of SwiftAnt and of course, you, as you said, you and SwiftAnt has the same journey. So concept of you and the SwiftAnt are just sounds really crazy. I believe the question should not be that whether you face any obstacle in the path of your success. I believe the answer would be yes. What I want to understand here is how did you overcome and supersede them, especially when you started with this?
Yeah. Again, the genesis is to win against the competition. We came up with this concept of what you call zero capex. So the customer kind of felt comfortable that let me give a try to a small company called SwiftAnt. So because they are committing, zero investment, they are not asking any money, they are not asking any advance or anything like that. So that is how we started. Now, in terms of the challenges, we did face many, we continue to face many. Basically, there's a notion in the IT industry that you are as big as the count of employees that you carry with you. Okay. And especially in the services segment, there is a big notion. So the big companies end up winning projects purely based on their strength. Whereas what we think, completely, when you look at many companies, many successful digital native companies or digitally successful companies, when you look at them, they started small and they stayed small, but they were very focused. They knew what problem they are solving. Okay. And they stayed very focused and they solved the problem and they succeeded. You can even go back to the time where digital was not extensively used as a marketing word. You look at eBay, you look at Amazon in the 1990s. They always started small, they stayed small, and they grew. So SwiftAnt is like that. It's a niche company. We have 100 plus engineers all over the globe. They are very focused. They know what they are doing in the logistics business. They know the purpose behind the project, not just technology. They know the purpose behind the project, and they serve that purpose very effectively. No, but many times we lost business because, SwiftAnt is 100 people company, but the competitor is a 10,000 people company. So I would rather go with a big company than working with a small company. So
it was just the head count that made that difficult.
yes, we lost businesses. We lost business opportunities, not based on our competency, but based on our size, we lost. And we are also changing. We are also planning to recruit heavily, not just to win the in the market, but basically our business is also growing. But that's a big challenge that we face. We face today also.
Makes sense. Makes sense. I mean that sounds really. I believe that many of the service-based ventures can relate with this fact. I mean, it happens a lot, especially when you're competing with someone who's having headcounts for like more than 5,000 or 10,000. The big fours and the Fortune 500, so as to mention.
Yes, and the other thing that comes into picture is, sorry to interrupt you, I think you want to answer. So another thing that comes into picture is that, have you done projects in this specific region? We are talking about a globalized world. There are many bids where SwiftAnt was not qualified to bid, saying that you don't have the regional experience. And again, that is where we are trying to overcome that barrier by saying that, okay, your capex is zero, entire risk is on us. We will implement it. You can put penalties on us in case we miss the timelines or we miss the quality metrics, but give us a chance, right? So that is what we are trying to do.
I mean, so you are taking like 99% step from your end, and you just stay there, and then let's see how it goes.
Yes.
Now that's a beautiful approach. I mean, Mr. Prasanna, that's like creating a need and then telling them that's what we need for our services. So that's a beautiful approach. I mean, so far this has been a great discussion from your concepts. Digitalization simplified, not simplified. ROI is there. The Twitter handles. I mean, the Microsoft Twitter posting about you. There is a recognition. There are things going on in SwiftAnt and with you personally as well. You holding experience of more than 3 decades. I don't want you to go without giving some advice to the young professionals that are watching this session. So what would you advise to young professionals in, let's say, in your industry?
Yeah, so, it's an interesting question. Again, my viewpoint is simple. Am I capable of advising, or should I be receiving advice from the millennials? There are two ways of looking at it. And I think it's a two-way street. Gone are the days where hierarchically somebody, having more experience will only preach and everybody else listens. Gone are those days. So it's a two-way street. I need to learn something from the millennials. And then if at all I can share anything, I would say most people that I come across when we do interviews or when we talk to many professionals, most professionals are tech savvy. They are very good in what they attempt to do or what they are doing technically, but they miss to understand the purpose of the technology. So technology is a utility, and technology can solve many things. The same technology can solve a business problem in retail or logistics or insurance, right? So when they get to know the purpose behind the technology that they are applying, either in a startup company having a sole mission or working in a services industry where they are, every 3 months they are changing the projects. One day they're in a logistics project, another day they're in an insurance project. So, insurance business focus centric project, right? So if they understand the purpose behind it, who the stakeholders are, what am I trying to solve? Is there a better way? Can we add more value? That's going to make a significant difference. What I think is the rate at which technology is becoming easier and easier. If the younger generation is not focusing on the purpose behind the technology, their career might be at risk. And this is what we always say in SwiftAnt from day one when people join our company. And that is how we groom them to be a good mix of understanding the business operations and deliver technology platform to meet the business process demands, right? So that's what I would advise. Don't just be tech savvy, be purpose driven.
So I mean, if you have to summarize this let's say in just 2 words, it's value creation. I mean, understand what's the value creation proposition of the work that you are into.
Correct. Understand the supply chain, what value are you are adding, and then contribute towards that with technology skills.
Now, that's what the experience speaks, guys. I mean, I hope everyone enjoyed this session. Mr. Miapuram, this has been a lovely session so far. I wish that we had more time, but Mr. Miapuram is a very busy man. It's our pleasure that he got like 30 minutes out of his schedule for this session. And let's thank him. So thank you very much, Mr. Miapuram, for sharing such great insights with us. And we look forward to having a chat with you again in the future on some other trending topics in the international business industry so far. And for our viewers, if you like this chat with Mr. Prasanna Miapuram, please like, share this video, and also click on that red button to subscribe to Click of a Creators YouTube channel to appreciate what we do. And you have more coming in from industry leaders like Mr. Prasanna Miapuram. This was Sagar for BizzTalk World signing off.